Good morning, my beautiful friends. This is your wake up call with Maui Paul. I am Maui Paul. We are here today to say some nice things about ourselves. Now, we got quite the crowd here today. Nice to see you guys all here. Good morning, Janet. Good morning. Let's see here. Good morning, Janet. Good morning, Lauren. Good morning, Teresa. Good morning, Shauna. Good to see you ladies here today. Good morning. Let's see here. Ooh. Good morning, Amanda. Good morning, Dan. Good morning, Maya. Is wonderful to see you as well. Good morning, Eric. Good morning, Susan. Yeah, well, quite the crowd of folks we have here today. Happy Monday to you. It is the first day of a new week, and it is the first day of a new a series of I Am card readings. It is just wonderful to see you guys here. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for sharing some time with me today. The question of the day was, what cool thing happened this weekend? And it looks like that generated quite a few responses. So let's see here. Uh, so yeah, Lauren said I was a dancing angel on Saturday night. Enjoyed every bit of it. That's right. There was the Angels and Devils party was this weekend. Uh, let's see. Janet said what happened was took a big fall, 6 staples to the back of my head, and all is well. Doing great. Appreciate all who checked in and asked about me. I remember listening to you telling the story about it, and it was I saw you over at the coffee party on Saturday morning, and yeah, Janet, it was like I was very grateful that you were out and about, and you were just talking as if nothing had really happened, like it was just an ordinary thing. And I was like, oh my goodness, it was kind of a big deal, though. I'm glad you're feeling better. Um, let's see. Oh, Teresa suggested that theme to management. I'm glad it's so much fun. Oh, how cool, Teresa! Isn't it great to see our ideas manifest into reality? It's kind of what this whole show is about. Um, let's see. Oh, good morning, Dan from Omaha. Help from Omaha. Well, I hope that you don't need help. I hope that this is just a hello from Omaha. But if you need help, we'll send a team out to go grab you. Good morning, Maya. Let's see. All right. So it looks like Amanda rearranged her kitchen cabinets. Isn't it nice to kind of like go through there and put your hands on all the stuff and be like, hey, this stirs me and this doesn't. This cabinets can sometimes be a place where stuff accumulates. And oh, Dan, this weekend booked airline tickets for your mom to move to Georgia. Well, congratulations, or for mom to move to Georgia. Congratulations. That is the culmination of a lot of work. I know it's coming along well for you. All right. So, yeah, we are here to say some good stuff about us. Once again, we're going to pull a card off the top of the deck. I'm going to ask you if you are the affirmation on the card. We're going to respond out loud together. I am the affirmation. And as we do that, we are building into our own lives. We are just becoming we are becoming people who are just manifesting our own reality simply by noticing what already is, not through any magical process of creating what is not, but rather by noticing what is and by building into what already is, by building into what's already happening, and by just paying attention to things which already exist. So let's have some fun today. Pull the card and say that today I am empowered. I am empowered. I celebrate my ability to change and adapt. So I am empowered. I celebrate my ability to change and adapt. Are you empowered? You are empowered. You celebrate your ability to change and adapt. I'm going to write that down in the comments. And as I do that, and as I encourage you to do that as well, as we write this down together, we are taking this thought form, and we are translating it into some finger movements on our keyboards. We are being compelled to think about this thought, that we are empowered, that we celebrate our ability to change and adapt. I was thinking about what I did this weekend that happened that was so cool. But one of the things that I did was I actually pulled out my old journals. I was thinking about the past, and I was thinking about how so often we are so often we are prisoners to the stories that we tell about what happened in our past. And at least in my case, I actually have a big pile of journals that I've written that really catalog certain parts of my life. And typically, when I'm writing in my journal every day, it's because something really big is happening. Gigantic changes are happening, and I need to parse those changes. I need to just sort of get them out on the page. And so I was going through one of my journals, and this the time period of this journal was getting to be about the end of my Costa Rica experience. I was getting ready to move back to the United States. I had just made the choice to move back up to the US of A. And so this journal basically, yeah, catalogs that time period in my life where I was getting ready to move from one country to another. I was selling literally everything. I was picking up my life and my wife at the time, and we were moving. And the journal is all about my own insecurities and my own fears and my own excitements and all the things which come from making a gigantic life choice like that. Being reminded of all the things that weren't working in my life at the time, all the hopes that I had, all the things that I thought would work better if I was only able to completely change my state. That journal goes through it's basically a bit of a travel log, because as I was traveling, I was writing my pages every morning. We backpacked from Costa Rica up to Mexico City, and so that journal kind of catalogs going to Mexico City via just backpacking, walking, taking buses, to get from Costa Rica up to Ciudad de Mexico, and then of course eventually landing in New York City, and just that incredible culture shock. But as I was going through this, journal, the reason that I was actually reading it was because, I was thinking about my own past. I was thinking about, well, what are the stories that I told myself? What did I believe was happening when it was happening, and what can I glean from that simply by reading that my own writings, and reading my own writings, 15 years later. And it was just a fascinating exercise for me, because I recognized that I did change and adapt a lot, and that all kinds of crazy stuff happened to me during these travel, and of course, in the many years that have come and gone since moving to Costa Rica, or we were moving back from Costa Rica, and just thinking about the me that I was back then. And the journal itself is just this fascinating little artifact. But as I'm reading it, I recognize mental patterns that I have overcome, thought patterns that I don't have anymore, things that I was thinking in the past that I don't think in the present, and also other mental patterns that I have not yet overcome. Mental patterns, things that don't serve me, but that I still will go into sometimes. Places that I need to grow. And so being empowered is not about all of a sudden having the ability to completely manifest change in our lives, but rather the ability to change and adapt to the changing conditions in our lives. To recognize that the way that we live is always subject to our beliefs about who we are, and that our beliefs about who we are in many cases informed by our beliefs about who we were. And so as I look at the evidence of my own changing and adapting, it gives me hope that I will continue to change and adapt, that the thought patterns that I have right now that don't serve me, that one day I will look back at this. I'll look back at the journals that I'm writing right now. In many cases, journals that I'm writing right now are these video logs that are going out on the internet every single day. But I'll look back at this stuff right now and I'll say, wow, I was stuck in that particular mental thought form, and I recognize it today. 20 years in the future, but I didn't see it then. But I'm so glad that I overcame that. Ever evolving, just like Jan says, ever evolving, and we are evolving, and we can celebrate that. We can celebrate our ability to think a different thought today than we did yesterday, and ultimately that's what this project is all about. When I look through my journals, one of the things that really sticks out to me is that the work I'm doing today is the exact same work that I aspired to do when I was younger. I was very interested in getting up in the morning and helping other people have a great day. and helping myself have a great day. In fact, for like over 20 years, I've been asking myself the question, what can I do to motivate myself to get out of bed? What can I do that is important enough, that is big and important enough in my life? If the if all the stuff that people do which gets them out of bed in the morning is not enough for me, well, what is enough for me? And now I found what is enough for me. I found something that gets me out of bed in the morning. I found something that is important, sufficiently important, and that gives me the sense of fulfillment that I've been seeking, that I was so earnestly seeking when I was younger. When I was younger, I was I knew what the message was. I had no idea how to expand it. I had no idea like how to do this every single day. I didn't have a wake up call. I didn't know. I didn't have any tools in order to effectuate my dreams and desires. Well, now, thanks to the power of technology, and thanks to the power of clarity, and thanks to our ability to our shared ability to change and adapt, I am a lot closer to what I dreamed about when I was leaving Costa Rica. I'm a lot closer to it. In fact, I do it every day, and I do it at a level that excites me and empowers me and allows me to get out of bed in the morning and love on the people who are most important to me. And so I am empowered, and I celebrate my ability to change and adapt. Because while many fundamental things have changed in my life about about the way that I live life, and about the values that I hold, and about the way that I go about living my world, some things have stayed very much the same. And those the things that have stayed the same, those things just continue to filter up to the top. I still love the people around me. I still believe in the people around me. I still think that the world needs more people who are encouraging in it. I still believe that we do best when we re-examine our own core beliefs, and when we believe that we can. I mean, I still believe that we are defined by the stories that we tell ourselves, and so it's so important for us to tell better stories. It comes out in my journals over and over and over again as I go through them. But the one of the reasons that I was rereading my journals was not because I want to wallow in the past, but rather because I'd like to get some more gleanings from them before I ultimately destroy the journals, before I ultimately feed them to the fire, which is something that I intend to do here. I'm thinking about doing a journal burning event where I just release all of those stories about myself, where I've learned what I can learn. But I recognize that the you know the things that I wrote down in the moments that I was living them, while it's interesting, while it's useful for me to understand that stuff, it's not necessarily useful forever. The fact is that ultimately we have to let go of who we were to become who we are right now, and we have to let go of who we are right now in order to become who we are becoming. We have to let go of the thoughts that don't serve us. And so the fact is that as I think about what's the best way to essentially ritualistically dispose of the past, learn from it and dispose from it, but also or also dispose of it. um, the I also recognize the value in just kind of like going over it again, looking and seeing, who I was, who I am, and who I am becoming. And yeah, so I just want to let you guys know that at some point here in the next couple months, probably on a full moon, Shauna, probably on a probably when the moon is right, I'm going to be taking all my old journals, and I'm going to be putting them into the fire, and just sort of like releasing all the old energy, releasing all the pain that was there during the time when I was living it. Most of the pain was self-inflicted because of my own thought paradigms. Releasing all of the stories of who I once was, releasing the idea that I need to save this, that I need to keep my journals with all the mess that's written inside of there, all the rage on the page that I did, all of the misconceptions I had, all the judgments that I had about the people around me, in the situations that are so not important now, that when I reread them, I can barely even remember who the players were in these situations. So Now, I am empowered. I celebrate my ability to change and adapt. And to change and to adapt means to let go of old things, learn from old things, and then let them go. Recognize that I'm not the man that I was 20 years ago, that I'm the man that I am today, and that the most important parts of me have never changed. I don't need to keep my journals around in order to remember in order to remember what happened exactly. That would be a bit narcissistic of me to assume that anybody else would care about my life to the degree that I do. And when I think about it, one of the thoughts that I had that caused me to come to this conclusion about the things that I've written in the past was I asked myself, I said, I know that my mom keeps journals. And I said to myself, I was like, well, if what if I read all of her journals? What if I read all the stuff that was going on in her life? Would I would I want to? Would it be important to me? Or was it primarily important for her? Was it primarily important for her to leave this stuff or to put this stuff down on the page so that she could leave it behind? And so if I don't actually think it would be that important for me to read that because because the tool was primarily for her, why do I think it would be important for anybody else to read mine? And why? And how brave am I to even think that that I would want somebody else to have that level of intimacy with my own subconscious, with the person that I was but no longer am, with the person who cataloged that stuff back when it was happening. So I am empowered today. I celebrate my ability to change and adapt. And I celebrate your ability to change and adapt. You are also empowered. You are adaptable. You are changeable. And the evidence that you change and adapt is the fact that you come here to this show, that you give me 25, 30 minutes of your day, that you are interested in recognizing your own empowerment. And I suggest that you do. Recognize that you've changed and adapted a lot in your life, that you've taken what works and that you've left the rest, and that there are people in your life today that never would have been in your life 10 years ago because you weren't ready for them, and that there are people who aren't in your life today who you have left behind because you grew in a different way than they did, and that if they came back into your life today, that it actually wouldn't be particularly beneficial for you, that there are situations that you created for yourself in this very moment, in this now moment, that are the result of the person that you have become over the intervening years, and that there are relationships that you're capable of having now that you were incapable of having before. We are empowered people. We celebrate our ability to change and adapt. And as we change and adapt every single day, we are becoming the ultimate versions of ourselves. So let's do that. Let's change. Let's adapt. When change comes, let's not be afraid of it. Let's recognize that the change is coming for our good, that we are growing into the person that we were born to become. We are empowered today. And this is a great way to start off our week by recognizing that we are empowered. My friends, we are going into a work week. We are going into the week when everybody is starting to get stuff done. People are transitioning from the weekend to get stuff done mode in the week. And we are going to be interfacing with a lot of people to accomplish things that are important to us. As we do that, let's do that in an empowered way. Let's be intentional about the relationships that we have. Let's be intentional about the choices that we make, and let's recognize that the us that's making those choices, that we are the most experienced that we've ever been. That we have the ability to recognize situations today that we didn't have the ability to recognize yesterday, because we are empowered people. And so let us celebrate our ability to change and adapt. Oh yeah, I want to say thank you guys all so much for being here. I see a whole bunch of comments, so let's just take a look and see who has what to say. Um, looks like okay, looks like Jeffrey Clyde has come. Good morning, Jeffrey. Are you empowered to take a nap? Well, get on it there, Jeffrey. It's an important thing to do. Sleep is life-giving. Let's see. Janet says, experiencing others move in their empowerment reminds me of mine. I think that's one of one of my primary messages in this show, Jan, is that the people around us, they get to experience us being this way, and that it is empowering for them to experience us living like this. And I know that it's true because I have been most empowered by watching other people live in their empowerment. By watching the way that other people live, it inspires me to live my own life in a similar way, to take the best parts of what other people have already learned and to apply that in my own life, to take to take the life lessons from other people when possible, so that I don't have to live them myself, so that I don't have to as so I can learn by from others instead of learning from my own mistakes. And so when we live in an empowered way, we encourage other people to live in an empowered way too. It's very exciting. uh, a belief is just a thought we keep thinking. Free will allows us to think different thoughts and to think thoughts differently. Beliefs evolve and change too when we focus on our attention on thoughts that work better and feel better for us. And indeed we do. Indeed we do. We a belief is just a thought that we think over and over and over again, which is why the thoughts that we think as children are often the most pervasive ones in our lives. But think about it. The thoughts that we think as children are oftentimes our least mature thoughts. They are the thoughts that are most born of ignorance, or not even ignorance, just unawareness. There's a difference between ignorance and unawareness. Ignorance is when we know the facts and we refuse to see them. We refuse to take them into account when we make our choices. Ignorance is knowing that ignorance is knowing that the speed limit is 55 and going 80 miles an hour anyways. Unawareness is not knowing that the speed limit is 55 miles an hour and going whatever speed because we don't know what a speed limit sign is. That's unawareness. And so, a lot of our decisions when we are children are made from unawareness. We only have a very tiny viewpoint port into the world, and we don't know how to handle our emotions, and we don't know how to handle adversity. And something happens, and we assume that that's the way it always must be. And so, therefore, we make these huge choices in our lives as children, and it doesn't really serve us, because as we get to be adults, we recognize that we're still, in many cases, we still behave as children. And part of being an adult is to recognize when we're thinking child thoughts, and to adopt better thought patterns. Yeah, Shauna wants to do a full moon burn party. Absolutely, I think that would be an absolute blast. A full moon burn party. The full moon symbolizes completion, and I think that would be a wonderful thing to do. If anybody else is interested in doing like a burn party where on the full moon we burn things that it's time to release and let go of. For me, it would be journals. For you, it could be whatever it is that's important to you. I'm going to put up a Facebook post about that, and yeah, get excited about burning this stuff. Let's see here. So some beliefs are like training wheels that put in place to keep me straight when I needed that level of support. When I no longer need that support and trust myself to keep me supported, it's great to remove the self-imposed limitations and move about freely. I love it. What a great way of doing it. And some beliefs are indeed like training wheels. And I've noticed that I've adopted certain beliefs, and then as I've grown and changed, I have changed those beliefs. And man, changing beliefs is not the easiest thing to do, but it is the most rapid thing to do, because I've noticed that when my beliefs have changed instantaneously. I didn't have to work on changing my beliefs. My beliefs just took an about face right away when I was presented with better evidence, and I chose not to ignore that better evidence. And so, while a belief is a thought that we think for a very long time, the same thought over and over and over again that we think for a very long time, the fact is that changing beliefs, that doesn't need to take a very long time at all. Changing beliefs can be instantaneous. There's a book called Working on Yourself Doesn't Work, and the whole premise of the book is that change is instantaneous, and that it's that working on ourselves, that trying to change the belief, that knowing the belief is not serving us, and then trying to make some kind of a proactive change is never effective. That we have that really what happens is that when we truly recognize, when we're truly ready to change the belief, that it's literally like flipping a switch. I found that to be very true in my own life. Let's see here. All right. So Amanda says February 24th is the next full moon. Yeah. So I'm gonna make up a Facebook event, and so yeah, anybody who is interested in coming over to it, I'll put a link to it in the wake up call, and I'll talk about it. But basically, I'll make up a Facebook event. If you want to have an invite to that event, just send me a private message. But a Facebook event, a full moon burn party, and we'll set up a nice bonfire and set up some ritual and very intentionally, release and let go of the stories that we believe define our lives, so that we can reach for the things that are most important, so that we can write new stories based on who we are today, rather than on based on who we were yesterday, or even who we were when we were small children. So, anyways, guys, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for giving me this part of your day. Y'all are amazing people, and hey, and we've used the wake up call to organize a fun event that is going to be really cool for us. So yeah, be on the lookout for a Facebook event. I'm going to make it a public event to all of my Facebook friends, and yeah, and I'll be linking to it in the wake up calls from now. Yeah, from now until February, and February 24th, which is indeed the next full moon. So I've got some journals to read, so I can get over to finish up with reading them prior to prior to having this party. But thank you guys so very much for being here. It is an absolute pleasure to always gather with you today, and to come together with this intentional purpose of our own empowerment. We don't get it from somebody else. We get it from ourselves, and we get it from ourselves from our inherent ability to change, adapt, grow, and generally present as the best versions of us that ever was. So thank you guys so much for being here. I'll talk to you tomorrow at 9 a.m. And yeah, and I will see everybody on February 24th. Bring your journals, bring things that you can set on fire that no longer serve you, and we will ritualistically remove it from our lives, taking what works, leaving the rest, and always reaching for the best. I will talk to you guys tomorrow at 9 a.m. Until then, I love you. I believe in you. I care about you. I think that you're an incredible human being, and I'm excited to see how your empowerment today affects all of your tomorrows. Until we meet again, my friends, at 9 a.m. tomorrow, I love you, care about you. Aloha from paradise.